Yvette. My name is Zenzi. That's Zanzi. It's hard to begin because I go really, really fast, but let me just start with, and I got a picture, the fates of the publishing industry put right next to you was just who I am. The founder of hashtag Wellbeing Philosophy, thinking about how we think about being human with logic plus love intertwined. The ABCs of well-being philosophy are anti-racism, bioelectromagnetism, consciousness made clear. Now, got a lot to talk about. I'm going to pitch you here. You're the executive editor of Yes Magazine. I'm very impressed. I want to be part. Big coup for integrating all the various aspects, social impact, health and happiness, all of the environmentalism, all of it. Well-being philosophy is figuring out how to improve our mental fitness so we can handle all of these planetary problems. We are the generation of adults on Earth who have to learn to think differently, to exist differently, to care about each other, to not judge each other. All right. Let me show you something very pertinent. This, oh dear, there it is. It's hard being my own gaffer. Does me a fitty. I've evaporated 150 pounds in the 15 months after turning 50 with no standard diet or exercise. Luckily for me, and here's the before, here's the after. It's right here on my phone. We can show it to everyone, but 150 pounds in 15 months after turning 50. No standard diet or exercise at all. Although I was the wise steward of this transformation. But I did it differently. And I'm pitching you for a series on Yes to finish up. I'm now just about to turn 54. Clearly, I kept it off. And now I'm ready to do the rest of it. And you know, it was the pandemic. And it wasn't the way most of the people, pandemic, for me though, it was that I needed to be able to go out to become a stand-up philosopher. That's right. I am Dave Chappelle, cross-dressed with Eddie Izzard, the Hannah Gadsby of well-being philosophy. Now the thing is, I've the iceberg. The tip of my iceberg is this loud and proud hashtag redheaded She-Hulk. I want to stand on a stage, and Monique, all of your references in here, we've got so much in common, even though you're like 30 years younger than me. This is what we need. We need people interacting and becoming win-win-win strategic collaborators across ages and races and genders and nationalities, and social blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm a philosopher. I was a software consultant, a payroll implementation. That means the IRS was my client. I have a rigorous logical brain. It was taken from me. I lost nearly 90% of my ability to walk and talk in my 40s. And I was in that morbidly obese body for the first 50 years of my life. How I got out and demonstrating it is what I'm pitching you to. I see the most of the magazine is based back up in the Seattle area. I would like 6, 9, 12 months. Pick. To relocate back up to the Pacific Northwest. Demonstrate loving weight evaporation. It has nothing to do. This is a triangle, right? I can't because I'm holding the phone. What you eat is the least important. When you eat and how much. Those 3 variables are very important. And the biophysics is completely nobody's really getting it correct. I also use evolutionary logic. It's crucial that we understand what fat is. What is adipose tissue on a human body? Perfect human nutrition for everyone too old to get fed via breasts. Human fat is perfect human nutrition devised by somebody very much cleverer than anyone that I see operating in the medical sphere. Evolution is cleverer than our current medical paradigm, which is a faulty, flawed, and fraudulent paradigm. I'm so vibrantly alive in my 50s, large part because I just told Western medicine, don't even talk to the hand. It's not even listening, let alone the ears. I'm not listening to this poison, this toxicity. Humans have always been able to be morbidly obese. Let me ask you a question. Why's the Buddha fat? What do we know? Off in a cave, thinking things through, going into enlightenment. All the statues, fatty McFat fat. Because how else are you going to survive back in the day? What was it, 4,000 years ago? That's how humans, and we are all African ancestrally. This anti-racism bit, right, is not about some white woman losing weight. This is about uniting us as one species. Across every nook and cranny of Earth, all 7.9 billion of us are identical, utterly unique. We have to be able to hold that dichotomy. That's back to the mental fitness I'm talking about. I'm going to be as quick as possible so you watch this. Let's do a thing. Let me talk about evolutionary logic. Let me talk about losing weight in a much more body, mind, and soul integrated fashion with love and logic intertwined. Because free thinking is priceless. And going over this weight loss, this changes the way I thought about everything. I had what we can only call a Kundalini awakening. And this is the bio-electromagnetism aspect. You know, I read your story and of dealing with being a black female body in the U.S. of hypocrisy. And 2 of my best friends from college, we were the larger ones. 2 of us were morbidly obese. The other one was just chubby from lupus. She died in her mid-20s. And Khadija died 2 years ago from cancer. Like that. And it was racism based. All racism. Because of racism, we all know the medical statistics about the outcomes. But we're not even seeing the fullness of how human bodies operate. We're stuck in this biochemical paradigm because people can sell us things. But bioelectromagnetism is the philosophy. It's a Poe. Forget people's theories of everything. I have a philosophy of everything from consciousness outward. And once we understand the brilliance of being a Homo sapiens sapiens, we are so stressed in making things go so quickly that we've dropped our second sapiens. That's the knowing. It's the bioelectricity, which produces placebo tools. The placebo effect, well, that's a problem when people are trying to make money off of you being sick all your life. Placebo tools, these bring back the responsibility and the effective, impactful ways to be in this world fully healthy. And size really has nothing to do with it. As I said, evolution created human body fat, and it has been keeping people alive for centuries, millennia, in fact 200,000 years. And we are all African ancestrally. And how those African ancestors migrated all around the largest landmass in Africa. All the rest of the landmasses fit into Africa. So huge. And then people started going across oceans. That one land bridge is, it's simply just, it cannot logically make sense. Some people did that, but very few. Actually, there's a quote in The Dawn of Everything. The two Davids, one Grow and Graeber, reimagine the last 5,000 years of human, and we were a brilliant species. These last very nearly 600 years of whiteness have got to be stopped. So yeah, I'm pitching you to demonstrate losing weight as just the demonstration of how clear, creative, anti-racist, life-centric thinking, which is the number one brand of thinking that can save our species from self-extincting in approximately 30 years. Things are so bad. And the planet could take us out. There could be a whole bunch of earthquakes and volcano eruptions and tsunamis. They could all just start piling up, certainly. You know, what's really going to take us out is technology, social media. And so I'm asking you to help me end what is approaching 23 months of homelessness. To set up, just Airbnb me or rent an apartment, whatever, for 6, 9, 12 months. I'm going to lose the weight, and we're going to document how I become the founder of #StandUpPhilosophy, get Dave Chappelle's attention, create a movie called Londolozy. In here, all of your references, in living color. I mean, I was just finishing up a bit about the fact that if you want my take on politics, forget democracy, Republicans, all this. Let's just go back to a constitutional monarchy and nominate the Wayans family. Handle all our business. Kim gets every veto. And I mean, imagine how much fun State of the Union's going to be. With Keaton and David and Sean and Marlon all just like trying to get the mic. Great. Funny. Dave Chappelle. #Chappelle Challenge on my YouTube channels. Quality comedy with purpose. With a lot of purpose. This two-party system, this jury rigging, this purchasing of democracy in the U.S. of hypocrisy. Something radical's got to happen. And I'm all about thinking about radical things and offering them and making them funny and entertainment and all these kind of things. In the book, I mentioned Why Did I Get Married? I am also the co-creator, co-executive producer of a movie that will reunite Jill Scott and Lamar Rucker. One is my college pal. And it's about me and him meet-cuting via a tweet after 30 years, and he's this A-list Hollywood black actor, and I'm been living in my car trying to find well-being philosophy, stand-up philosophy. No. It's the best buddy movie ever. And then when we go to Africa, what do we need? Well, we need a fixer. We need a concierge. We need Ma Precious Remote Sway of the #1 ladies detective agency. Yeah, so we want Jill to reprise Ma Precious Remote Sway. And here I am, more books. Just the guy. Alexander McCall Smith wrote #1 Ladies. It's like 22 books now in that series. Hundreds of millions of people. But he also has this other series on a female philosopher. Scottish. Right there. Anyway. This is how you lose weight. Becoming exactly who you are. Looking at your life in the best possible terms and really just daydreaming yourself into the life that makes you filled with love for yourself and for the whole human species. And that transitions you into a body, whatever size it might be, that is perfectly suited for the life that you're meant to lead. It turns out I'm a dancer. Ecstatic trance dance. And understanding the quantum physics. Some more books. Yeah. Heard Spooky Action at a Distance. Well, this, Fear of a Black Universe, just to be perfectly clear, is written by Black physicist Stefan Alexander. It's Chuck D. is a pivot on Chuck D. is in my philosophy of everything. We take Gödel's incompleteness theorem and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, added with Helfrich, that's my payroll name, Deb Helfrich. Helfrich's life-centric complexity axiom, all parsed through MC Hammer's dictum. You're on the Twitter. Hammer is the Twitter sphere's #1 philosopher. And what he said and how he said it is what we'll explore in our co-collaboration. Yes. What is this? It's a series. So webisodes. We could do some live streams. Of course, be monthly articles, pulling everything together. But all the raw data, I'll do this. It's like 700 of these YouTube videos. Nobody's paying attention to me. Big opportunity for somebody to discover me. MC Hammer's dictum is, when you measure, include the measurer. Port that into weight loss first thing first. Happiness, mindfulness, meditation, none of it is being applied within an overall thinking system that understands consciousness. That's a big problem. The way I understand consciousness is through bioelectromagnetism, biophysics, brainwaves. And the simple act of going, that's how brainwaves work, that's what caused 150 pounds to evaporate with no diet or exercise involved. Standard willpower driven. Everything was done via love, via salience, being who I was. I'm on the cusp. And the executive editor, who is wise enough and smart enough and loving enough to document this little period of my hashtag breaking brilliant. Lamar Rucker, it just got back. It's a movie. It's Londolozi. It's a real place in northeast South Africa. Right equivalent with Gaborone, Botswana. You just go through Kanye. Lamar and I meet cute on Twitter. We go do a location scout at Londolozi. All of a sudden, the world comes down with all seasonal sunlight flu. Sick for 5 days, well for 2 days. Sick for 5 days, well for 2 days. I created this movie in 2019 and submitted it to Ron Howard's Imagine Impact Incubator. Date time snapped on the internet. Prognosticated COVID, just using logic. Anyway, what I also prognosticated was full-on human well-being resides in Africa. And there's the statistics from the pandemic. What region had the least effects? Should have had the most. If it really was about population density, if it really was about... Now, I'm going to leave you with this. When I say these things, I say them fully within the power of science, the philosophy of science, to be perfectly clear, and the philosophy of physiology, to be precise. Thinking about how we think about things is very, very, very important. And COVID-19 was not an airborne virus. We moved it around. And the public health complex let us all down because very mass important right up at the beginning, but after the first couple weeks, you're not letting anybody sneeze or cough on you. We moved it around by touching things. Gloves would have undoubtedly changed the pandemic. This is the kind of thinking that nobody is strong enough to have anymore. Just also mandate gloves. Just apparently why it wasn't happening, and I've talked to a number of doctors and virologists, is they were worried that, again, with all the rush to toilet paper, and that the medical people who really needed the gloves would run out because all of the population was buying gloves. And again, first month, certainly, but very soon after, like if we'd have implemented a mask and gloves policy, because what was all everyone doing? Just picking things up and putting things down at the grocery stores. That's how most of it spread. Do you go and look at the various countries and why we were so... We don't need science to logically say this glove situation is a very likely vector. So there are some of the real deep stand-up philosophy types of bits. Let's chat. Let's develop a collaboration. I want to help you have the thinking tools you need to navigate the very, very serious medical conditions. And I'm very sorry, but I cannot understand how keeping your liquid down and your sodium down is doing you any good in an acute situation. But you can't live your life without liquids and salt. Salt, bioelectromagnetism. It is actually sodium molecules that keep our brain working. I'll have to dive into that specifically, and I can send you to other... I'm not the one who made that up. I just read it. David Bodanis. It's a book on electricity. Electric universe. And wet electricity, how our body functions, really important. All right, I got to go. Harmony.